is full of firsts.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Many of those firsts shaped our way of life. For 70 years, KPRC Channel 2 has been proud to be pioneers in shaping television and Houston history.
In a state the size of Texas, everyone can enjoy.
Causing the storms Thursday.
Minutes before 9 o'clock, the crew's here telling me.
For the first time, how long they had let it. See the some of your men.
Isn't it good to work for a place that has a sense of history? And indeed it is.
See, taking the president from Spring to College Station following his
If you have something you'd like Channel 2 Investigates to check out, call the tip line at 713-223-TIPS or email investigates@click2houston.com. History is full of firsts.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Many of those firsts shaped our way of life. For 70 years, KPRC Channel 2 has been proud to be pioneers in shaping television and Houston history.
In a state the size of Texas, everyone can enjoy.
Causing the storms Thursday.
Minutes before 9 o'clock, the crew's here telling me.
For the first time, how long they had let it. See the some of your men.
Isn't it good to work for a place that has a sense of history? And indeed it is.
See, taking the president from Spring to College Station following his
If you have something you'd like Channel 2 Investigates to check out, call the tip line at 713-223-TIPS or email investigates@click2houston.com. History is full of firsts.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Many of those firsts shaped our way of life. For 70 years, KPRC Channel 2 has been proud to be pioneers in shaping television and Houston history.
In a state the size of Texas, everyone can enjoy.
Causing the storms Thursday.
Minutes before 9 o'clock, the crew's here telling me.
Isn't it good to work for a place that has a sense of history? And indeed it is.
See, taking the president from Spring to College Station phones.
If you have something you'd like Channel 2 Investigates to check out, call the tip line at 713-223-TIPS or email investigates@click2houston.com. History is full of firsts.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Many of those firsts shaped our way of life. For 70 years, KPRC Channel 2 has been proud to be pioneers in shaping television and Houston history.
In a state the size of Texas, I hope everyone can enjoy.
Chronicles in the Storms Thursday.
Minutes before 9 o'clock, the crew's here telling me.
This is the first time in a long they haven't let it. As soon as some of your men.
Isn't it good to work for a place that has a sense of history? And indeed it is.
See, taking the president from Spring to College Station phones.
If you have something you'd like Channel 2 Investigates to check out, call the tip line at 713-223-TIPS or email investigates@click2houston.com. History is full of firsts.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Many of those firsts shaped our way of life. For 70 years, KPRC Channel 2 has been proud to be pioneers in shaping television and Houston history.
In a state the size of Texas, I hope everyone can enjoy.
Chronicles in the Storms Thursday.
Minutes before 9 o'clock, the crew's here telling me.
This is the first time in a long they haven't let it. As soon as some of your men.
Isn't it good to work for a place that has a sense of history? And indeed it is.
See, taking the president from Spring to College Station phones.
If you have something you'd like Channel 2 Investigates to check out, call the tip line at 713-223-TIPS or email investigates@click2houston.com. History is full of firsts.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Many of those firsts shaped our way of life. For 70 years, KPRC Channel 2 has been proud to be pioneers in shaping television and Houston history.
In a state the size of Texas, I hope everyone can enjoy.
Chronicles in the Storms Thursday.
Minutes before 9 o'clock, the crew's here telling you.
This is the first time in a long they haven't let it. Send us some of your men.
Isn't it good to work for a place that has a sense of history? And indeed it is.
See, taking the president from Spring to College Station following.
If you have something you'd like Channel 2 Investigates to check out, call the tip line at 713-223-TIPS or email investigates@click2houston.com. History is full of firsts.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Many of those firsts shaped our way of life. For 70 years, KPRC Channel 2 has been proud to be pioneers in shaping television and Houston history.
In a state the size of Texas, I hope everyone can enjoy.
Chronicles in the Storms Thursday.
Minutes before 9 o'clock, the crew's here telling you.
This is the first time in a long they haven't let it. Send us some of your men.
Isn't it good to work for a place that has a sense of history? And indeed it is.
See, taking the president from Spring to College Station following.
If you have something you'd like Channel 2 Investigates to check out, call the tip line at 713-223-TIPS or email investigates@click2houston.com. History is full of firsts.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Many of those firsts shaped our way of life. For 70 years, KPRC Channel 2 has been proud to be pioneers in shaping television and Houston history.
In a state the size of Texas, I hope everyone can enjoy.
Chronicles in the Storms Thursday.
Minutes before 9 o'clock, the crew's here telling you.
Isn't it good to work for a place that has a sense of history? And indeed it is.
See, taking the president from Spring to College Station following.
If you have something you'd like Channel 2 Investigates to check out, call the tip line at 713-223-TIPS or email investigates@click2houston.com. History is full of firsts.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Many of those firsts shaped our way of life. For 70 years, KPRC Channel 2 has been proud to be pioneers in shaping television and Houston history.
In a state the size of Texas, I hope everyone can enjoy.
Causing the storms Thursday.
Minutes before 9 o'clock, the crew's here telling him.
This is the first time in a long they had 11. Send us some of your pictures.
Isn't it good to work for a place that has a sense of history? And indeed it is.
See, taking the president from Spring to College Station following.
If you have something you'd like Channel 2 Investigates to check out, call the tip line at 713-223-TIPS or email investigates@click2houston.com. History is full of firsts.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Many of those firsts shaped our way of life. For 70 years, KPRC Channel 2 has been proud to be pioneers in shaping television and Houston history.
In a state the size of Texas, I hope everyone can enjoy.
Causing the storms Thursday.
Minutes before 9 o'clock, the crew's here telling him.
This is the first time in a long they had 11. Send us some of your pictures.
Isn't it good to work for a place that has a sense of history? And indeed it is.
See, taking the president from Spring to College Station following.
If you have something you'd like Channel 2 Investigates to check out, call the tip line at 713-223-TIPS or email investigates@click2houston.com. Live from KPRC, this is Channel 2 News Midday.
Right now at midday, bullets fly at a metro bus stop. Who was hurt and the search to find the person who fired those shots.
Plus, it's a big day for Decision 2020. The eyes of the political world now focused on Iowa. What a win there could do for the candidates.
Super Bowl 54 is in the history books as the Chiefs make history with their fourth quarter comeback to beat the San Francisco 49ers. A look back at the game, the halftime show, and the other moments that have a lot of you talking today.
But first, we start in Washington, where the Senate impeachment trial of President Trump has now taken a break. It is going to resume shortly. Good morning, and thanks for joining us. I'm Tanaya Wright.
And I'm Andy Sirota. House managers and the White House defense attorneys are delivering their closing arguments today. On Friday, Democrats' push to allow witnesses and evidence was defeated by the Republicans. A few GOP senators conceded. Republicans say the president's actions do not warrant removal by Congress, but by voters.
No witnesses, no documents in an impeachment trial is a perfidy. It's a grand tragedy.
The president will be acquitted in a bipartisan manner.
Following today's closing, senators who have acted as jurors in this trial will make speeches that could last up right until voting time, which is Wednesday afternoon. Shattered glass and bullet holes on a Metro bus after bullets fly at a bus stop in North Houston.
Right now, investigators are still trying to figure out where those bullets came from and who pulled the trigger. Channel 2's Vincent Crivelli joins us now live. So, Vincent, we are told one person was hurt when that glass shattered.
Tonight, a lot of gunfire here around 6:15 this morning. Authorities say that an ex-boyfriend fired shots at the girlfriend's new boyfriend. He wasn't injured, but someone else was. Around 6:15 this morning, Dwayne was riding this Metro bus on his way to work.
I was on the back of the bus, watching my phone with my headphones on, doing this. Then I heard a loud bang.
Then several shots were fired. At least 2 bullets struck the bus and shattered glass near Dwayne.
I felt something dripping. I was bleeding. It was a little flesh wound on top of my head. And then I looked around. I thought it was a rock. I looked around. I found a bullet.
Dwayne was caught in the crossfire.
Just got a gash in my head and some glass in my face. But besides that, I'm okay.
Authorities believe the shooter was aiming at a 17-year-old who left his girlfriend's house and was walking down the street. This is his mother.
He said a big red truck came, started shooting.
Investigators believe the shooter is the ex-boyfriend of the 17-year-old's girlfriend. Surveillance footage captures the teenager running for his life.
It's scary because we thought something had happened to where he got shot.
Right now, the teenager is being questioned while detectives search for the shooter.
Very scary. Just thank God that I'm alive and thank God for Metro's glass, double pane glass. It's a lifesaver for real.
And detectives say no one was seriously injured. Authorities wrapped up their investigation here around 10 o'clock this morning. Reporting live in Northwest Houston, Vincent Crivelli, KPRC, Channel 2 News.
Vince, thank you. Now to the latest on a Greyhound bus shooting in California. We know one person was killed and 5 others were wounded when a gunman opened fire. The bus was headed to the Bay Area from Los Angeles. After the shooting, the driver of the bus pulled over and the gunman got off. Investigators say they have the shooter in custody, but no word on a potential motive.
A former Harris County Precinct 3 Constable's office captain now facing charges in connection to the sexual assault of a young girl. Well, he is going before a judge today. 74-year-old Jack Hagee is facing felony indecency with a child and aggravated sexual assault of a child charges. Channel 2's Taisha Walker joins us now live with what happened inside the courtroom today. Taisha.
Tanaya, Jack Hagee was in court this morning where a district county judge signed a emergency protective order and set conditions for his bond. That's the former Harris County Precinct 3 captain standing in the middle, at times shaking his head no as prosecutors read his probable cause before the court. The 74-year-old has been charged with felony indecency and aggravated sexual assault. Prosecutors say his adopted daughter says she was touched and sexually assaulted by Hagee 30 years ago when she was just 4 years old. His attorneys say decades-old allegations can be challenging.
As you know, cases like this that are filed 20 to 30 years later are very difficult. These charges were just filed last week, so we have a lot of investigation to do, and we're looking forward to having our day in court.
Per conditions of the emergency protection, Hagee is not allowed to leave the state, go near a school, or have contact with the victim. And Hagee's bond was set at a collective $65,000. Reporting live from downtown, Taisha Walker, KPRC, Channel 2 News.
Taisha, thank you. A Houston man is accused of driving drunk and taking the life of an innocent man in a car crash. Investigators with the Harris County DA's office say this is Jeffrey Davis's fourth DWI arrest. They say the crash happened when Davis made a left turn on a yield signal last night on Bamel North Houston and Champion Forest, slamming into Eduardo Tobias, who had a green light. Tobias died at the scene. Investigators say Davis had been drinking. He is now in the hospital.
The 2020 presidential election has officially begun. Well, it begins tonight. The still crowded Democratic field has been crisscrossing Iowa in anticipation of the first in the nation caucuses. Wendy Woolfolk reports now on the candidates' final push to get votes.
We all have one goal, and we better come together to meet that goal. We are going to beat Donald Trump.
All eyes on Iowa. Democratic hopefuls finishing their last-minute dash across the Hawkeye state, hoping they did enough to convince voters they should be the party's nominee.
We're kind of like a yard sign for the rest of the country. When they see who can win here, it may increase folks' chances of voting for that candidate on Super Tuesday.
But what they are looking for is a candidate who's going to unite the country and bring decency back.
Voters here don't cast a ballot like a traditional election. They physically group themselves by a candidate in each precinct. If the candidate doesn't get 15% of the caucus crowd, voters can realign themselves one time.
I think at the end of that time, you're going to have a clear idea of who's where and how, and I feel very good about where I am.
Polls show former Vice President Joe Biden in a tight race with Senators Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, with former Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg not far behind.
But I'm also here mindful that even at this late hour, there's a lot of folks still making up their minds.
A decision that these candidates hope will propel them to the presidency. Iowa Democrats take their caucuses very seriously. They're expecting a record turnout tonight. Wendy Woolfolk, NBC News, Des Moines.
Thank you, Wendy. And of course, stay with Channel 2 News for the very latest on the Iowa caucus. Our Sion Rhodes is there now, and we'll have live reports coming up in our newscast later today. You can also look for her reports on our website, clicktohouston.com.
We have much more ahead in our coverage of the Super Bowl.
That is right. Coming up, how the NFL remembered basketball legend Kobe Bryant.
A Texas lawmaker is getting involved in a hair-raising case that has made national headlines. What he's proposing so that a student can walk with his class at graduation.
HEB. Live from KPRC, this is Channel 2 News Midday.
Andy and Tanai back with a look at some of the morning's big stories. Police say an ex-boyfriend of a girl fired shots at her new boyfriend early this morning.
That's right. This all happened as the ex-boyfriend was waiting for an Uber to go to work in North Houston. Police were called to Veterans Memorial and Rainy River Drive. An innocent bystander was actually shot, but that person is expected to be okay. The intended target, the 17-year-old ex-boyfriend, not injured. Police are now questioning him while they search for the gunman.
A Houston man is accused of driving drunk and taking the life of an innocent man in a car crash. Investigators with the Harris County DA's office say this is Jeffrey Davis's fourth DWI arrest. They say the crash happened when Davis made a left on a yield signal last night on Bamel North Houston and Champion Forest, slamming into Eduardo Tobias, who had a green light. Tobias died at the scene. Investigators say Davis had been drinking. He is now in the hospital.
Now to the very latest on that terror-related stabbing out of London. Police say they have searched a bail and probation hostel after the man who attacked people in the streets was shot to death. 20-year-old Sudesh Aman was recently released from prison after serving time for terrorism-related offenses. According to police, he had been convicted for publishing graphic terroristic videos online and had a stockpile of instructions on bomb making and knife attacks. 3 people were injured in that incident. Well, the first primary contest in the nation happening today.
Yeah, you probably know the candidates and the issues, but a lot of people might still be fuzzy on exactly how a caucus works. NBC's Morgan Radford has more on that.
This morning, it all comes down to Iowa.
Probably Bernie Sanders. Elizabeth Warren.
I'd say I'm undecided right now.
Nearly 30 candidates have dwindled to just 11, all vying to win the first contest in the nation.
We definitely feel like there's responsibility with it, and we dig a little deeper, I like to think.
So why does Iowa matter? So it's good. It's all about electability. Candidates must prove they have what it takes to get a whole country behind them.
Hello.
It worked for Jimmy Carter back in '76. And Barack Obama in 2008.
Thank you, Iowa.
We're kind of like a yard sign for the rest of the country. When they see who can win here, it may increase folks' chances of voting for that candidate on Super Tuesday.
How does a caucus work? People gather at 1,600 locations, like schools, libraries, and indoor sports fields.
Step one, they'll be able to check in person, or for the first time this year, check in online.
Step two, a representative for each candidate delivers a short speech. Then you pick your candidate, not by ballot, but by foot.
Each room like this will be divided into sections. So if you support candidate A, you'll stand with a group over there. If you support candidate B, you'll stand with a group over there. And then every single group will wait to be counted.
But if a candidate gets less than 15% of the people in the room, they're considered unviable. Caucus goers then have to pick one of the candidates who is viable and move to that group. Once everyone gets rearranged, they're counted again.
And it's that total that determines how many of the state's delegates go to which candidate.
I think caucus night is going to be absolutely crazy.
Here in Polk County, home to more than a quarter of the state's Democrats, party officials say they're expecting record-breaking numbers.
If we're not using every large space in Polk County, I don't know who is.
Lots of people that go to...
And voters say it's anyone's game.
I think it could be 4 or 5, 6 different people that could possibly win it.
Morgan Radford, NBC News, Iowa.
Are you ready to do your part for Decision 2020? If you're not registered to vote, today is your last chance to change that. You can print off a voter registration packet from the state's website and then take it by the registrar's office, or you can mail it out today to make your vote count. Very important.
Yesterday was picture perfect. I think it's going to be tough to beat that today, Justin. What do you think?
Well, let's put a little carrot into that.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It's going to be just as warm. And we'll see a little more cloud cover, but you notice we got a lot of jiggle going on there, right? We got a little of this to the camera here.
Nice.
And that's, all right.
Shakira.
Hey, oh my, no way, man. I'm telling you, that's my girl. She had it going on last night. Anyway, this is what we've got so far. We're going to see a very breezy afternoon. In fact, we got a wind advisory out there that's in effect, and that goes through all this afternoon. These temperatures have already leapt, I should say, back up into the low to mid 70s in many spots. Even at the coast in Galveston, we're at 70 degrees. Everywhere else, 73 in Brenham, 74 in Katy. We've got 74 in Sugar Land as well. We're going to look at these winds, though. This is sustained wind, mind you. 10, 26, 20, 15, 15 down to the coast. Wind gusts are even higher than that in spots, clocking closer to 30 to 35 miles an hour. So 10 and 2 on the wheels today, especially if you're going over some of the big overpasses, the Fred Hartman Bridge, for example, on the east side. And there is that wind advisory. So 20 to 25 mile an hour sustained winds, gusting to 30 plus. We've already seen that. And this is going to continue through not only today, but into tomorrow as well. And of course, some rough seas where they're anywhere from around 6 to 10 feet. So bigger snapshot is we're still waiting on our cold front that's going to come in from the northwest. We've got some showers off to the south that we're going to keep a watch on. These will slide their way in as we head into this afternoon. Nothing heavy, but they will be out there by about, let's say, 2, 3 o'clock. And we'll keep the rain chances at about 30%. And notice even those overnight lows are going to stay very mild in the 60s, guys. And that cold front's going to bring back some winter time. We'll talk about the timing of that and where that wintry precipitation might be across the state of Texas. It's coming up.
All right, thank you, Justin. Remember, you can track the forecast anytime you would like. All you have to do is download Frank's free forecast weather app. Just search KPRC in your Apple or Android app store.
Want to get to some breaking news we are following right now out of North Harris County. That's where deputies say they found a human fetus at a construction site. The call came in just after 11 o'clock this morning. The construction site is located near the North Freeway and West Riley Fuzzle. Investigators are on their way to that scene right now. Sheriff's investigators have not said if the fetus is alive. We, of course, will continue to follow this story and bring you the very latest updates both here on the air and online.
Exactly 1 week after NBA legend Kobe Bryant's death, the future legends of the NFL paid tribute. Before kickoff at Super Bowl 54, the Chiefs and the 49ers lined up at the 24-yard line to honor Bryant and the 8 others killed in last week's helicopter crash. They held a moment of silence for those victims, along with NFL Hall of Famer Chris Dolman, who died of cancer on Tuesday. And after the Super Bowl, cleanup began on Bryant's memorial just outside of the Staples Center. The area is now sealed off from the public, and crews are working to clear and catalog all of the items that have been left there. It will all be put into storage until the Bryant family decides what to do next. Overseas, basketball fans continue to honor the memory of Kobe. The world's tallest building lit up yesterday in tribute to the late NBA basketball star and his daughter. The picture of Bryant and Gianna fill the tower, as you can see. Bryant was an 18-time All-Star who won 5 NBA championships and became one of the greatest basketball players of his generation during his 20-year career. All right, well, a Barbers Hill teen's battle with his school district over his hairstyle, well, it is now sparking some change in the Texas House of Representatives. State Rep Ron Reynolds is introducing some new legislation that, if passed, will prevent school districts from discriminating against any student's natural hair. This comes after Barbers Hill High School senior DeAndre Arnold was told that he could not walk the stage for graduation or even return to normal classes unless he cuts off his dreadlocks.
Turning now to the latest in the coronavirus outbreak, the U.S. now has its 9th case.
And in China, the death toll has now risen to at least 350 people. Wuhan, which is the epicenter of the virus, is now expanding the quarantine. Any remaining flights out of China with U.S. citizens on board will be routed through airports with advanced screening. Americans coming from Wuhan will face a mandatory 2-week quarantine.
I just hope, everybody's kind and compassionate to all the people that are coming back on these flights. I can imagine Abigail being frightened of people in hazmat suits.
Now the State Department is working to evacuate about 1,000 Americans who are still trapped in Wuhan.
It took 3 years, but a dog is finally going to be reunited with its family, and it's all thanks to a beer can. Day was one of the 4 shelter dogs chosen to be featured on Motorworks Brewing beer cans in Florida. Immediately, 2 of the dogs were adopted, but not Day. But that turned out to be for the best, because when Monica Mathis saw a picture of the beer cans online, she recognized a familiar face. That's because Monica, who lives in Minnesota, says Day is her dog and got lost back in 2017.
Wow.
Yeah, the shelter is now working to get Day back to her family.
Gotta get those microchips.
Such a sweet face.
I know, he's
right?
so cute.
We now know the reason behind a mysterious post from Tom Brady.
Yes, we do. Coming up, the story behind the picture next.
But first, here's a live look at Wall Street as we head into break.
Good morning. Well, we now know the answer to Tom Brady's mysterious tweet. Lots of people were questioning what that could have been.
Yeah, I know. So last week, the Patriots quarterback posted a photo on Twitter and Instagram that really caused a stir online. Okay, so this is the picture that he posted, but he didn't leave a caption. It led to thousands of comments, people asking, what the heck does this mean? Well, people were speculating if he's walking away from the field, signaling that he is leaving the Patriots or football altogether. Well, it turns out it was just an ad for Hulu.
You deserve to hear this from me. Hulu doesn't just have live sports. According to the script they just gave me, Hulu also has your favorite cable channels plus the greatest shows, movies, and originals of all time. So it's time to say goodbye to TV as you know it
Blue, very clever. Brady is 42 years old and has played 20 seasons in the NFL. He's played in 9 Super Bowls, winning a record 6 of them.
Wow, well, the celebrating continues at this hour. The Kansas City Chiefs winning their very first Super Bowl in 50 years, coming from behind in the fourth quarter to beat the 49ers 31-20. It was a great football game, wonderful halftime show, really something for everyone last night. NBC's Carrie Sanders reports now from Miami.
Overnight in Kansas City. Die-hard Chiefs fans who have been waiting more than a generation for a Super Bowl, letting loose.
We're feeling good. Chiefs are Super Bowl champions here in Miami.
And this morning, all smiles in the Kansas City Chiefs kingdom.
I think the best thing about this team is they never lose confidence in me, and I just kept fighting, and we found a way to get a win in the end.
The Chiefs coming from behind, scoring 3 touchdowns in the final quarter to beat the 49ers 31-20.
Down by 10, 2 interceptions. You must have been nervous.
Not at all. Not at all.
Before the game started, both teams lining up on their respective 24-yard lines to pay tribute to Kobe Bryant and the other victims of last Sunday's helicopter crash. And after a stirring national anthem by pop star Demi Lovato, it was time for football. The first touchdown going to Kansas City. Chiefs superstar quarterback Patrick Mahomes, the game's MVP, running it in.
Mahomes looking to flip, takes it in for the touchdown.
The Niners tying it up with some acrobatics of their own.
Garoppolo keeps play action, pass is caught. Use check, touchdown.
And heading into the halftime show, it was still anyone's game.
The halftime show, not only a nod to girl power, but also a reflection of the rhythms of Miami.
Co-headliner Shakira got the party rocking on her birthday with a lively performance full of Latin flavor. Then it was J-Lo's turn. Jennifer Lopez tearing it up with a medley of her biggest hits. Welcoming superstar J Balvin and her talented daughter, Emmy, for a fun, fast-paced production.
With the Niners leading by 10 heading into the fourth quarter.
With the Niners leading by 10 heading into the fourth quarter, Kansas City exploded for 21 straight points and never looked back. Running back Damian Williams' 38-yard touchdown run sealing the win.
And will roll into the end zone.
Waves of red and gold confetti falling on a supersized night to remember for a proud franchise celebrating a moment they'll never forget.
This story is unbelievable for me, for this team. What a blast to be a part of this.
Just a great night.
Yeah, that
overall.
Win last night, the halftime show. People are going to be talking about that for quite some time.
You know, it was one of those things, too, where you kept thinking, like, okay, they can't go down. They're down 10. All right. We were up 24, and then all of a sudden, poof, that went away, right? And the exact same thing happened last night as well. So I thought it was great. I thought it was really good. So I've been told to be quiet about Shakira, so I'm
it was so good, though.
I thought it was great. It was good for anybody.
I bet dance classes spike now after
and
this.
a couple of those commercials, too. The Google commercial about the grandfather. Found out, did a little reading on that. That is actually one of the Google employees' actual grandfather and his voice. He's talking about his grandmother as well.
Wow.
Yeah, so talk about, you know, double onions with that. Yeah, it was a great one. So anyway, let's go outside and talk about what we've got for the rest of the day. Today, we're going to be looking at a really breezy forecast. In fact, wind advisory out there that goes in through this evening, and that's anywhere from those wind gusts upwards of 30 to 35. We've been seeing that out there as well. In fact, right now, we've got anywhere from right around 75 to 73 degrees in Hobby. Galveston sitting at around 70 degrees there as well. And you see just about everybody looking at a very warm afternoon. That's going to be the case for the rest of the day today. So we will certainly keep a real close watch on that. I don't think we'll see much in the way of rain out there. We've got 72 in Huntsville, 74 out in Katy and Sugar Land. Galveston, as I mentioned, sitting at that 70-degree mark with those winds, 15 miles an hour. Look at this, 26 out in Katy, 21 in Wharton, 20 out in Sugar Land. You factor in the wind gusts with that as well. They're even stronger. Those have been clocking in anywhere from around 30 to 35 miles an hour. That's why the wind advisory is out there. So just be ready to, if you're going for a run, you're going to fight the wind. 10 and 2, as I mentioned before, on the old wheel because it will be breezy, especially on the overpasses. So there's that wind advisory. Includes most of southeast Texas here. The seas are building as well. It's going to be a very rough couple of days out on the water in the bay and certainly just offshore as well. And a few showers down around Hallettsville slowly trying to sneak their way in. Nothing heavy, but they are out there. An indication that we're going to see more of that over the next couple of days. And here's why. We've got an area of low pressure digging into southern, right the south end of the Baja there in Mexico. That's going to push some of that tropical moisture closer to us. And then we've got this big dip in the jet stream. That's where that front's going to start to develop, and that'll all push over towards us as well. So let's first start with the futurecast for the rest of this afternoon. Slight chance for showers. Notice the temperatures overnight tonight are going to stay very mild as we go into tomorrow afternoon. We'll see the same thing. A few spotty showers on and off. Nothing major. Now the front comes through on Wednesday. Once that moves on through, that's when we start to crash back into winter. So we're going to keep it breezy with isolated showers, and look at all the potential that we could see some wintry precipitation just north of Dallas, some snow, sleet, and even some freezing rain. I don't think we'll see that, but watch what all these computers are trying to do by early Thursday morning. A quick hit of maybe a little bit of sleet in some of the northwest counties. We've been seeing this on the last couple of model runs for the last few days, so it's something we're going to watch very carefully, but just be ready for a big dip from 70s to 50s to 30s in your forecast before it moderates just a bit. But of course, we'll watch out for anything that tries to get its act together early Thursday morning. Still, I don't think it's going to be a huge impact, but you know, anytime we see those bright pink and blue colors start to pop up on the map there, we take notice.
Yes. Yeah. All right, Justin, thanks so much. You bet. I want to get you back to that breaking news we've been following out of North Harris County. That's where deputies say they found a human fetus at a construction site. That call came in just after 11 o'clock this morning. The construction site is located near the North Freeway and West Riley Fuzzle. This is a live look now from Sky 2. Investigators, we are told, are on their way to that scene right now. Sheriff's investigators have not told us if the fetus is alive. We, of course, will continue to follow this story and bring you the very latest updates, both here on the air and online.
It needed to be about politics, about partisanship. He intended it to be a song for all America. But he intended it to be more than just a song. It was to be a prayer for the country. As your very distinguished chaplain, Admiral Barry Black, has done in his prayers on these long days that you've spent as judges in the High Court of Impeachment,